Good morning, my name is Lori. Welcome to a study in Scarlet quilt along. Today we are making this block, which is called Wedding Bouquet. That will complete this set of blocks, and you should be able to join some things together if you like. So let's take a look at my rough copy pattern. This one is fairly easy and has few pieces compared to the one from last week. Here I have my bag of pieces. Let's go down through the list and look at the pattern itself. This is a 12-inch block finished in the quilt, of course. So it'll come out to 12.5 as we're working on it today. This is for part 2, chapter 3, and we will be using 4 at a time geese. And we will be doing some half-square triangles also. And I have made this block up in sections, the center section, and the geese, and what I like to call the bow tie units. So let's pull out some pieces and take a look. First of all, I have the red for the center. It is a 4.5-inch block. I have some black pieces. They are 3 inches to be made into these half square and background half square triangles. I have some background. I have a 5.5-inch piece for the flying geese units. I have 12 2.5-inch pieces for the stitch and flips and these plain squares. And I have 8 3-inch pieces for the half square triangles and for some of the 4 at a time flying geese. And last, I have some lovely dark purple. I have 4 3-inch squares to be used for flying geese, and I have a 5.5-inch square to be used for some other flying geese. Let's pair these all up so we can get started to sew. So my flying geese are made from the big 5.5-inch squares, and some of them have purple corners and some of them have background corners, so I need 4 of the 3-inch for that. And then for the bow ties, I need 4 backgrounds and 4 of the black squares. There's another unit. And the unit for the center needs the red for the center, and I need 4 background pieces for the stitch and flips. So now I have all the blocks laid out, except for the plain squares. I'm going to set those aside. And I need to mark from corner to corner on all of the smaller squares. Let me get my book out of the way and get started with marking the corners. So everything is a cut line this week. I will be taking these to the machine and speed sewing. Like I said a couple weeks ago, not that I'm in a big hurry to push things through, but it's nice to be as efficient as possible and get as many things done as you possibly can at one time. Now remember, to set up the 4 at a time flying geese, you're going to nip the little tip off of the 3-inch blocks after you mark them. And then you're going to lay that on the bigger block with the nipped pieces toward the center. Line up that center line. And this is one of those few times where it's a good idea to use a pin just to get you from here to the sewing machine. And the other 2 blocks, of course, get set aside. And the last one is the purple 4 at a time flying geese. Let me mark all these pieces. And again, I nip that little corner and lay it on the big 5.5-inch block. And once I have my lines lined up, then I pin, and I will take this over to the sewing machine. Let's go do some speed sewing. When I got to the sewing of the center part, I realized that I said, oh, all the lines we were making today were cut lines. Well, that's a lie. The center block, that is a sew line. And then I will come back and I will add the line, I will add the stitches for the bonus triangle. Time to do some trimming. I'm going to trim off my bonus triangles. Cut my half square triangles in half. Make a nice pile to take to the iron. Now some things just need to be pressed and they are ready to be trimmed, like these half square triangles. Other things need another step before they are ready to trim. Oh, there's another half square triangle. We will need 8 of these. And then I have the 4 at a time flying geese. Of course, these need a little press before we go on. I will be right back from the iron in just a second. Okay, I am back with all the pieces pressed. So let's do some sorting. And you don't have to press between if you don't want. I just need to do that for personal preference. These are ready to trim. These are bonus and ready to trim. Let's reset the 4 at a time half square triangles, or I'm sorry, flying geese. It would make it easier if I pull that pin cushion down near me. Okay, that one is set to go. this one is set to go. And now the background, the ones with the background. And last but not least, the center, and I need to add 2 more stitch and flip corners on there. I probably could pin those too. But remember, on the stitch and flip corners, that line is your sewing line, not your cutting line, because that's the way stitch and flip corners work. Let's get to the sewing machine and get these units made. It is now time to trim. I need to trim all of the flying geese to 2.5 by 4.5. The important part is to make sure you have that 1/4 inch up here at the top of the flying geese. And I need to trim the half square triangles. So let me get to that. And I will be trimming the bonus half square triangles to 1.5. Let me get to that. So here we are with all the trimmings. It is time to set up 2 of the block units. The first block unit to go to the sewing machine are the little bow ties. And we set aside the 2.5 inch blocks. So this goes together as a 4 patch. And we also have the flying geese to take care of. They go together to make a purple point or a purple arrow. Let me go to the machine and I will sew these together and I will be right back so we can assemble the final block. I am back from the iron. Let's take a look at these units before I put it together in the big block. These are pressed toward the purple goose, and because that is the way the fabric wanted to go. But you can see I sewed with this on top so I could hit that mark or a little bit above it so that my point would be perfect there. That doesn't happen every single time, but today it happened. These little blocks are all pressed toward the plain square, so when I turn it around, they will nest perfectly when I take them to the machine, and they will have a nice point where the 2 black triangles meet. So let me get this unit all done, and we will be ready to assemble the whole block. Let's get this block together. We have the red center, and then we have the purple units pointing inward. And last but not least, the bow ties. And they are pointing so that there is background in the corner toward the center. Now all I need to do is assemble it like a 9 patch, and it will be a completed block for our Study in Scarlet quilt. Let me get this sewn together, and I will be back in a moment to share you the final block. Here it is, the wedding bouquet, all finished up, ready to go. 12 and a half at the moment, 12 in the quilt. I hope you have enjoyed putting this block together. I will see you next week when we talk more about A Study in Scarlet on Wednesday. Bye. Please like and subscribe.